keep doing their bullshit. Man, it's rigged, man. Anyways, comment, rate, subscribe, man. I'll see you guys next time. False 911 calls. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've done a false 911 call myself. Well, not false. I didn't call the police and be like, "Oh, help! I need help." I called 911 and then I kept clicking 11111 to see if it would still work. I'm just seeing if it worked. Anyways, I pressed 1 a lot of times and yeah, it still worked. So you cannot misdial when you're trying to call 911. Learn something new every day. Anyways, false 911 call leads to a huge lawsuit. Let's see what happens.
Welcome to Code covers personal property, false 911 calls, and hate crimes, and is brought to us by both Police Activities Channel and Cleveland.com's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. In the spring of 2016, 41-year-old United Arab Emirates citizen Ahmed Al-Manali and his wife temporarily moved to the United States while Mr. Al-Manali underwent medical treatment at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. On June 29, 2016, Mr. Al-Manali traveled to the Fairfield Inn and Suites in the nearby town of Avon to seek accommodation, but was informed that they were fully booked due to the Republican National Convention taking place in Cleveland at the time. Mr. Al-Manali asked the attendants at the front desk for recommendations for hotels that may have vacancy, and the attendants told him to wait in the lobby while they print a list of hotels that he can call. As Mr. Al-Manali took a seat in the lobby, the Avon Police Department...
Yo, that sounds like a bar. Mr. Al-Manali took a seat in the lobby, went and had some kebabi, and then he hang out with Tom Holland. I don't know, it sounds like some Eminem bars, you know what I'm saying?
A list of hotels that he can call. As Mr. Al-Manali took a seat in the lobby,
Al-Manali took a seat in the lobby, saw my girl, he's hanging out with Bobby. Bobby started dancing. We ain't having fun no more. These bars are trash. I'ma sit on the floor. Ooh!
The Avon Police Department received a phone call from one of the attendants' sister.
Avon Police Sergeant Rupel.
Hi, my sister works at the Fairfield Inn on Colorado Avenue in Avon. She is a desk worker.
Okay.
There is a male in a full headdress with multiple disposable phones pledging his, hold on.
What?
Pledging.
Hold on, let me hear this.
Okay.
There is a male in Avon. She is a desk worker.
Okay.
There is a male in a full headdress with multiple disposable phones pledging his, hold on. Pledging his allegiance or something to ISIS.
Okay.
Man, what? What? Okay, hold on. Hold on. I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that. So you telling me a dude that comes in with a hijab, or I don't know what it's called. He comes in, he has disposable phones. You telling me he's starting to just pledge ISIS in the middle of the hotel lobby? Really?
Very panicky.
The attendant's father also called and verified everything that the previous caller had reported.
Really?
She said she's in the back. I have the text. She said she's terrified. So please.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Avon officers arrive on the scene minutes later
Honestly,
and detain Mr. Al-Manali at gunpoint.
They pulled up with the...
Once the officers place Mr. Al-Manali into handcuffs, they begin searching his pockets.
She said she's by herself.
Not good this. I'm tourist and this is good, not good.
Yeah, it's not good. It's right.
Make a sweep this place.
I don't know. It's got it.
Well, they mugging my boy.
Anybody else?
They took his phone, taking jewelry. I'm glad they kept the shades on him.
Make sure he's got nothing on.
We will. Relax. We will. Relax.
This guy gonna make sure he's got nothing on.
We will. Relax. We will. Relax.
Embassy.
Lift your other leg up.
Says he works for the embassy.
That's nice. Lift your leg up.
Really work for the embassy, you guys.
Broken my telephone also.
Yeah. So you broke
Yes.
my nail.
During the search, one of the officers tosses Mr. Al-Manali's phone, and in later footage, it appears that the phone was broken. It is widely accepted that police officers can cause reasonable and necessary damage to an individual's personal property during a search based on a warrant. For example, in the 1979 case of Dahlia versus United States, the Supreme Court United States struck during the ransack premise of a standard amendment, it was the case of search individuals per search. And as part of the search, a court would likely find that its destruction was a violation of the Fourth Amendment. As Mr. Al-Manali is searched, one of the officers enters the hotel to speak to the staff members who prompted the 911 call.
Someone at Avon or Illyria, he wanted a month's stay. He was leaving July 13th to the 14th, around there. And I tried to help him as much as possible. Everyone said that they were booked and they couldn't help him. I told him, and then he wanted to sit in our lobby. He didn't want to leave.
So you said you guys were booked?
Yeah, we said we were booked.
Okay.
Everywhere he called is booked too. It's summer, people are
Sure,
traveling.
absolutely.
And training, 100%.
So, I mean, that's what he had 2 phones. He was searching the internet on one phone, making calls on a disposable phone.
Okay.
That's really all that I know. It just freaks me out because.
So homie's trying to stay for a month. You're booked. He's another customer. Of course, he's like, oh crap, like I'm trying to find a hotel. That's literally what everybody does. They're trying to get a hotel. They can't because everyone's booked. Oh crap, what do I do? Okay, he has 2 phones. So what? Okay, he can't get a hotel for a month, so you think he's just going to start praising ICE? Nah, I need to know. Nah, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Ain't no way.
That's really all that I know. It just freaks me out because of everything.
He didn't say anything else?
No, it's.
Because the call we got is that someone said that he was pledging his allegiance to ISIS,
No.
Who would have said that? Who made the call?
I told my sister, I said, it's my sister, her name's Allison. She called us dressed in a weird outfit. He had 2 disposable phones. I said, I don't know what to do because of everything.
2030 units, stop your search.
Stop the search, homie. Hear him? Stop the search, homie. Y'all didn't find nothing? You didn't do nothing.
You guys okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Hey, your LT's back up. We're going to sweep the lot real quick.
Okay.
Switch the lot for what?
Right here.
Hell no, they done looked through his wallet, got his family
Bunch of
pictures.
SIM cards.
Yeah, he's not from the country.
He has them all right now.
Bro, look at all that stuff. What do you mean? Does he have ID? Bro has his passport right there.
Like 6 or 7 different ones.
Amherst. Flea Market.
He had this thing in here.
Because everything is going on with ISIS is what I said. I said, call the police because we couldn't because he kept coming up here.
Lady, ISIS don't want to.
Stand down, stand down, stand down.
The front desk attendant informed the officers that Mr. Al-Manali never pledged allegiance to ISIS, in direct contrast to the information her sister provided during the 911 call. Section 2917.32 of the Ohio Revised Code, which defines the crime of making false alarms, states that, quote, no person shall report to any law enforcement agency an alleged offense or other incident within its concern, knowing that such offense did not occur. Similarly, Section 128.32 states that, quote, no person shall knowingly use the telephone number of a 911 system established under this chapter to report an emergency if the person knows that no emergency exists. Therefore, under the Ohio law that applies to making a false 911 call, the attendant's sister could only be charged criminally if she made the call knowing her allegations were false. In order to convict an individual of a criminal offense, the government and the conviction that didn't pledge allegiance to ISIS existed to prove that the sister knew Mr. Al-Manali probably didn't pledge allegiance to ISIS, and she made the call anyway. She could potentially be convicted for making false alarms.
I'm so sorry. It's because he kept coming up here and asking questions and stuff like that, and we couldn't.
Well, unfortunately, the call that came to us was that he was screaming, pledging his allegiance to ISIS and waving his phones around. That's a very big, different picture than what happened.
He did have 2 phones, but he was talking to a guest out here in the lobby who was trying to find some directions, and I think I've got that card up there. It was a Hirschenberger Organic Farm 1557.
Well, I'm not saying it's nothing, but the call that we got is nothing what happened. So
yeah,
I think things got a little blown out of proportion.
Misdemeanor.
I apologize.
Someone dressed like that just holding phones isn't enough to call and say they're pledging their allegiance to ISIS. That's a totally different ballgame.
Right. Well, I didn't know who the caller
All right, just sit tight.
was,
Nobody leave.
Yeah,
Let me go try to smooth things over with this gentleman.
Yeah.
Nobody ever said anything about ISIS. She
Boy
called her
came in with a riot shield.
sister because he with this gentleman.
Yo,
Nobody ever said anything about
my man ready to bust down the door.
ISIS. She called her sister because she was nervous because he looked like that and had two phones. So let's go dust this gentleman off.
The attendant admits that she was afraid of Mr. Al-Manali because of the way he dressed and the fact that he
was
had
trying
two
not to
cell
laugh, bruh.
phones,
I
which
would've been
could be
like,
considered a form of religious bias. Hate crime legislation, which exists on the
that's
federal
like
level and in the
100%.
vast majority of states,
100%
either
hate
makes the
crime.
punishments for certain crimes harsher if they are motivated by a bias
Racial.
against a protected group of people, or creates new crimes that include a bias motivation as an element of the offense. Section 2927.12 of the Ohio Revised Code defines the crime of ethnic intimidation as committing aggravated menacing, criminal damaging or endangering, criminal mischief, or certain types of telecommunications harassment because of the race, color, religion, or national origin of another. Federal hate crime legislation, which is applicable in every state, includes Section 249 of Title 18 of the United States Code, which criminalizes causing or attempting to cause bodily injury to another because of their actual or
See that? That
perceived
said
race,
10
color,
years.
religion, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability. Because neither the state nor
said
federal
10
hate crime laws
years.
apply to making false
up, zombie?
alarms, even if the 911 caller was convicted of this offense,
playing
she
your
could
scary
not
game?
also be charged with a hate crime if her actions were motivated
We watching hate crimes and police and a whole bunch of stuff.
by religious bias.
Stand. I'd cuff him.
So your brother's not here? He's got a brother. He can't speak.
After receiving the order to stand down,
Hell
the
no.
officers returned Mr. Al-Manali's
I mean, not
property
cool,
and
but
released him
cool.
from handcuffs.
I get
Eventually,
what
the officers recovered one of
get
Mr.
what you-
Al-Manali's phones that they had thrown into the bushes nearby.
They threw Buddy's phone in the bush, bro. If his phone was a bomb, that shit would still get you.
Eventually,
If it
the
was in
officers recovered
bush.
one of Mr. Al-Manali's phones that they had thrown into the bushes nearby, and he
Why
was
you
able to
throw it
call
in
a
the
friend of
bushes?
his, who was also a police officer, to translate. As the officers were speaking to Mr. Al-Manali's friend, he suddenly collapsed and lost consciousness. Luckily, a fire squad was already on the scene, and they
Stressed
began
out.
rendering aid immediately. Mr. Al-Manali had just undergone open heart surgery a few months prior to this
Oh.
interaction, and he was hospitalized
Bro, if it was a Samsung, that bitch would have really blown up.
following
You saw this already?
this incident after displaying
never seen this
symptoms of a
before.
stroke. Mr. Al-Manali was released a few days later, and he went on to file a lawsuit against the Avon officers and the hotel, which was
There
owned
you
by
go.
Marriott International Inc.
Marriott
The Avon
had a
Police
big
Department
payout.
issued a formal apology in person, and
I fuck
initially
that
stated
apology.
that
I
they
need
would
money.
consider bringing charges against the 911 callers. The Lorain County Prosecutor's Office investigated the incident and presented evidence to a grand jury, but the jury declined to indict them on any charges.
Huh?
Mr. Al-Manali's lost evidence to a
What?
grand jury. The Lorain County Prosecutor's Office investigated the incident and presented evidence to a grand jury, but the jury declined to indict them on any charges. Mr. Al-Manali's
Are you
lawsuit was
kidding me?
initially seeking $200 million in damages,
Oh, that's
but
a
after
lot.
a
You're not getting that,
3-year-long
buddy.
court battle, he eventually settled for an undisclosed amount in 2019.
You ain't getting
Overall,
200
the Avon
million, buddy.
officers get a C+, because although they apprehended Mr.
They
Al-Manali
did the best they could.
appropriately
They
based
did
on
the
the
best they
information
could.
available to them at the time, they also demonstrated a reckless disregard for the safety and security of Mr. Al-Manali's personal property. As we have discussed previously on ATA, the chain of communication between 911 callers and police officers is often riddled with inaccuracies and tends to dictate the overall tone of almost every interaction. It is difficult to fault the officers for responding in full force to a report of a potential terrorist attack.
Yeah, bro. They called Buddy a terrorist, gave Buddy a stroke. He could have died.
And I
but
commend the officers for
200
having the
million, he not
patience
getting
and
that.
discipline to detain Mr.
Nah.
Al-Manali without
Probably
violence.
got, like,
It should also
10
be noted that
million,
Mr. Al-Manali
honestly.
was only in handcuffs for approximately
You done
7
playing your
minutes
game?
before the officers were able to figure out that it was a false 911
7
call and released him.
minutes?
All that said, the officers also made a few disrespectful remarks and destroyed Mr.
100%.
Al-Manali's phone for no
100%.
apparent
They
reason.
was-
It
they
could be
was-
argued that the officers
Oh, you
tossed
don't
the phones to
speak
prevent the
English?
activation of a
Welcome to
device, but the same
America.
goal could have been
That's what they
achieved by
was.
simply removing the phones from Mr. Al-Manali's possession. The officer's complete lack of compassion after destroying the phone adds merit to the notion that the officer did so maliciously. Most of the Avon officers did their job efficiently and professionally, but a few of them could certainly be reevaluated. As for Mr. Almanali, I cannot rightfully issue a grade to an individual.
Man, forget about him. He's a victim. What about the people that fake call, bro? Like, that shit was not cool whatsoever. Right, and they did him wrong. I see why you said that was sad. They did him wrong. All right. No more sad stories. Oh, after I hit this intro. Let me... $30 luckiest people caught on camera. But it's gonna be crazy. I already know. Last video I saw where it was like some lucky people. That was wild. If Nando was still here, that was wild. 30th lucky people caught on camera.